سيد مختار، الرئيس التنفيذي لمجموعة مؤسسة التمويل الدولية، شكرا جزيلا لحضورك معنا اليوم. أهلا بك على شاشة سكاي نيوز عربية.
شكرا، السلام عليكم.
سيد مختار، اليوم التحديات التي تواجه الاقتصاد العالمي نوعا ما معروفة، ولكن أريد أن أفهم من وجهة نظرك ووجهة نظر مؤسسة التمويل الدولية، ما هي التحديات الأهم اللي بتعتبرها على رأس القائمة التي يجب أن يتعامل معها العالم الآن من دون أي تأخير؟
Food crisis is the number one. It affects everybody. It affects the developing country more than anybody else. So poor in the world are suffering. 150 people went to war, went to poverty. Second, ensure that we have employment in countries. We have seen that in a lot of the countries, developing countries, people have been losing their jobs. Small companies have been affected by the COVID crisis, and they've been able, not all of them have been able to rebound. We are seeing even in developed countries, where they didn't have an employment crisis, that we start now seeing large companies shedding staff away. So we have an employment problem before us that we need to address. Third, inflation. People have been suffering with inflation, and we look at the consumer baskets of all, consumption basket of all people in developing countries. You see that food price, bread, wheat, gas, all these have been increasing. So these are the challenges before us.
ذكرت الأمن الغذائي وأيضا ارتفاع التضخم وموضوع خلق الوظائف كأهم تحديات يجب على العالم التعامل معها. كيف ينعكس ذلك في محفظة الIFC واستثماراته؟
We have created a $6 billion platform for food security because we realize that we need to move fast and bring resources for people to invest in the food sector. This platform allows us to bring projects to our board very quickly and to be financed very quickly. More recently, we have invested actually last week in Bangladesh in the rice sector. That's what kind of thing we'll be doing. Secondly, that platform allows us to invest more in fertilizers. We know that fertilizer supply has been a big problem for developing countries. And what is the beauty is that now we will want also to increase the supply and the production of fertilizer in developing countries. We are working with Morocco in Africa, we're working with Senegal, we're working with Togo, working with all these countries to increase quickly their supplies. But we want to do it in a sustainable way. We want to ensure that now we're using a very sustainable supply chain, but especially using green energy to produce. But for job, which is the most important thing for everybody, we are investing in SMEs. We are now having particular investment in for these SMEs. And one of the things that SMEs need is short-term capital. It's not only long-term investment, they need to have working capital. So we have increased significantly our amount of short-term capital. Third, we are accelerating our way of delivering investment. We have this year already invested close to $19 billion to firms, which is much above what we have done in the previous year. So we are really responding fast and being able to be counter-cyclical. Third element is that you should not forget the long term, because we might be addressing the crisis now, address the issues that people are facing now, but if you don't create the condition for in the future for it not to be repeated, we will be facing the same problem. So we are bringing long-term capital in the agricultural sector, which is we are bringing new instrument in insurance, but also we are improving the preparedness for the next, unfortunately, pandemics that might occur, and we are investing in the pharmaceutical industry, in the vaccine industry, in places in the past where nobody was investing.
أنت تقول بأنه يجب البدء بأخذ المخاطر وخصوصاً الاستثمار في الأسواق الناشئة. كيف تبرر هذه النصيحة للمستثمرين وخصوصاً من ناحية العائد على الاستثمار؟
Developing countries and emerging economies should not be seen as a risk. Actually, so one of the highest returns that investors are making are in those countries. But the perception and what I would say is the contagion or the perception that you have in this country when something is happening in Algeria, people saying that there is a problem in Egypt, or something happening in Jordan, they say it affects also other part of the Middle East. We need to start looking at this risk country by country and not to have this generalized view of emerging economies. So part of what we are doing is to make sure that people apprehend and understand clearly the risk attached to this country. But also we are bringing some instruments and way of de-risking this investment. Sometimes people don't know very well, and the market is not created, so we have created that market, and we bring grant money to lower the cost by buying down, for instance, first losses, by bringing instruments that bring the confidence of investors to come in. But also we have other instruments like the guarantees that we are using to bring more investment. So this is the kind of things that we are looking. And we are looking at also long-term issues which will require long-term resources. For instance, access to water. Desalination is an important part of the supply of water in the Middle East, and we are looking at this project with countries. And we would like to use not only to invest in water, but to do it in a sustainable way. Everything we're trying to do right now is trying to do it in a very sustainable way, so that not only is it financially sustainable, but in terms of environment is also sustainable. So we need to bring more grant money to de-risk investment, so that institutional investors, pension fund, all these people can come and put money, which is long-term money, to development in these countries.
ضمن محفظة IFC هناك استثمارات كثيرة في الدول العربية. اليوم وين التوجه أكثر؟ إلى أي دول؟ أي قطاعات؟ ومن هم الشركاء الأبرز في المنطقة العربية لمؤسسة التمويل الدولية؟
We're investing already a lot. Actually, we have a project in wind and solar. Ammonite project that we just signed in Egypt is one of these projects. We are working also in Morocco. We are discussing with authorities in Jordan about a large desalination project. And we are also looking at the youth. We realized that there were not enough venture capital going in the Middle East. So we have created a $225 million initiative which will cover Africa and Middle East to target venture capital in the region. And we also are focusing on women. We have we finance initiative for women in the Middle East, and we would like to increase the amount of resources which are going to companies which are led by women, or we are targeting mainly women. So we are looking at investment in the sectors which are promising in the short run, but also which in the long run will allow to change the way the economy is run in the country, and include much more women, and also doing in a very sustainable way. We believe that climate change offer a lot of opportunities of investment in the solar. You know that sun is available in Middle East, so, and people want to produce green hydrogen. So we have an opportunity to invest in those sector. Wind energy is another one. Fertilizer is another one. So we have a certain number of sectors that we are looking at very closely, and which are giving promising opportunity to invest. We are partnering the last year and a half. There is a particular emphasis to work with GCCs. We have seen that there are a lot of liquidity in GCCs, and for cultural reasons, and also sometimes religious regions, you have GCCs country. We will look at developing an emerging country, being Uzbekistan, being Africa, and they want to have partners to invest with. So we are now working in a very close partnership with UAE, and actually we have a company that have net. We are invested in. We are not only investing in their country, but investing outside their country, and we are favoring a lot of the South-South cooperation. I've been talking to Imperial, which is a logistic company that has been now absorbed by Dubai DPW, and we are working also very closely with DPW to expand our partnership. So we have a very interesting prospect in the Middle East, and GCC will be a lot of my focus in the coming month.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so very much. It's a